Welcome back. You're still watching Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. Now to our main conversation. Lawyers representing Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, have threatened to pull out of the trial if operatives of the Department of State Service, DSS, continue to deny them privacy with their client.
Yes, a Kanu who is standing trial for a treasonable felony and has been in the custody of the DSS since 2021. His lawyers spoke to newsmen in Abuja on Wednesday, expressing their worst fears about a process that they say was bent on serving Kanu injustice.
Yes, the lawyers expressed dismay that it was difficult for Kanu to effectively defend himself against the alleged treasonable felony and terrorism charges when he could hardly access his lawyers or have any discussion without interference by operatives of the security agency. Our guest to do justice to this topic is Oku Bethel Chimzi, an attorney at law, and Emeka Madunago, a journalist and public affairs commentator. Good morning, sirs.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Welcome to the conversation. All right, so I'll begin with the attorney in the house, Bethel. So there's been a lot of back and forth with the Nnamdi Kanu's issue. I mean, he was arrested in 2021, and there are a lot of theories. Some people think this is a witch hunt from the government, citing Igboho and other people who have been asking. I mean, freedom fighters who have been asking for cessation. I mean, he's not the only person asking for that. But in this particular case under reference, can you give us a bird's eye view as to what the legal implications of this particular matter is?
Being that Nnamdi Kanu is currently facing charges bordering on treasonable felony, the punishment for conviction is death for that particular offense in Nigeria. Now, considering the position the lawyers have taken, a lawyer only does that when he sees that there is a roadblock, because every effort that they have made at ensuring the release of Nnamdi Kanu, in one way or the other, the DSS has frustrated it. So first they are complaining that they don't have access to their client, which is not right. Of course, as a lawyer representing a client, you must have access to your client.
Very true.
You must hear your client out. You must prepare your client for trial. You must always have to talk to your client. That is not a right that can be denied your client, no matter the offense he's being tried for. So that's a wrong footing that the DSS has put forward. They shouldn't do that under any guise, no matter whose interests they are trying to protect. We are talking about justice in Nigeria. The law sees you as innocent until proven guilty. Nnamdi Kanu has already declared guilty of the said offense. So why would you not allow his trial to go fairly? So I kind of sympathize with the lawyers. I know how frustrating it must have been for them to come to this level of making it a general thing, to tell the whole world how frustrating the DSS has been making their legal practice with regards to defending Nnamdi Kanu.
Very true. All right, Mr. Emeka, let's look at this issue. According to Fair Hearing in Human Rights, it says what constitutes a fair hearing will depend on the facts of the case and would require a number of public interest factors to be weighed in. The question here is, considering, just like the barrister here did say, the offense is treasonable felony. Considering the sensitivity of that particular issue, do you think what the DSS is doing is fair enough, knowing the consequences of, if possible, he is given a fast-track hearing to this issue and possibly he gets acquitted if possible?
I just think some people in the DSS are using this just to boost their egos. There's actually no case against Nnamdi Kanu, because otherwise the trial would have either proceeded or been ended. It's very clear. You made certain allegations. Go ahead and prove them. The prosecution accuses Nnamdi Kanu of jumping bail, and his lawyers have clearly laid out the circumstances that made him to leave Nigeria at the time he did. And there's video evidence, eyewitnesses about how the Nigerian military invaded his father's palace in Afaraoku, Umuahia, Abia State. You know, in September, as it was in 2021, and killed a number of people. Now, he had to relocate for fear of his life. Now, these matters have been clearly laid out. Okay, grant him bail. They have used different options to see, okay, how they can achieve bail, both judicial and political. But it appears there are some people in the Nigerian government who are bent on using Nnamdi Kanu'S case for a particular agenda, and I tell them they will fail. They will fail. Because there's nothing about Nnamdi Kanu that is different from Sunday Igboho, that is different from some other matters that have come up here and there. Grant him bail. You are keeping him in custody and you are saying the trial should proceed. I believe that Justice Binta Yako should recuse herself from the trial. Because circumstances within which that trial proceeded under her are really unfavorable to the cause of natural justice, of fair hearing, of fair justice. So I think a new judge should be given the matter, and then let there be clear terms of reference. Otherwise, those people who are using Nnamdi Kanu's case for personal agenda can keep this case running for the next 20 years. We've heard of the allegation, which have not been denied by the DSS, that every time they bring Nnamdi Kanu to court, it costs 500,000. So I now wonder, you now have so many policemen, DSS, all kinds of security agents patrolling Abuja. Who is actually benefiting from this alleged 500 million naira security cash out? Who? Who is benefiting from it? The point is that you have to grant him bail. You cannot keep him in custody, and his lawyers have clearly stated that they want him to be moved to Kuje prison. They don't want him in the custody of the DSS. And there are certain reasons for that. The DSS cannot turn itself into an investigative agency and then now arrogate to itself the right to decide how the trial will proceed. That is an abuse of fair hearing, of due process, and I support the lawyers. And let it be noted that the way this matter is proceeding will not lead to any outcome that favors justice.
Very well.
Let it be clearly noted that some people are out to use Nnamdi Kanu's matter for their personal agenda. Quote me on this, for their personal agenda. I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should step in at this time. And like I've suggested again and again and again, let there be a political solution to this matter.
All right. So while we wait for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to step in and do justice to this case, Mr. Bethel, let's see. The 1999 Constitution, as amended from Chapter 4, Section 36, from 1 to 12, talks so much about fair hearing. And the question is, do you think the DSS is above the law when it comes to this part of the Constitution?
They are not above the law.
But why does it seem like they are not, interested in respecting that part of the law?
The first thing is, Section 1 of the Constitution talked about the supremacy of the Constitution to the exclusion of any other law or legislation in Nigeria. That being said, the issue of DSS obeying or disobeying the rules as stated in Chapter 4 of the Constitution has to do with the judge. Like he had pointed out, Justice Binta should recuse herself. And for me, if I would put out an advice there for the lawyers representing Nnamdi, they should apply for the matter to be moved from that judge to another.
Really? So they can do that?
Yeah, of course, of course. Once you consider that the judge, who is supposed to be unbiased, starts acting biased in your matter, of course you ask for the judge to be changed. It's as simple as that. It comes through a petition, they write it and send to the chief registrar of the court, the CR as they call it, and then get your judge changed to someone else that would give you the peace of mind to believe that the process is going to be fair. If you see that the process is not fair, you just do that and get another judge to do your matter for you.
Okay, so Bethel, I would like for you to also expatiate more on what Mr. Emeka rightly adduced. So he said there's no case against Nnamdi Kanu, even though we say that he's been charged for treasonable felony. And then he made some, some suggestions around maybe some people are using the case to fill their agenda. And do you think that the federal government is deliberately not wanting to release? Why do you think the federal government has refused to release it? Not this subsisting government, of course, it was arrested in 2021 during the session. Yes. Even though he has said if he's allowed out, if he gets freedom, he's going to ensure that peace is restored in the southeast, which is what we should all gone for. Why do you think the government is keeping him continually, and do you think there's no case against him really?
First, I can't ascertain that the government is keeping him there. So it's just situations are suggesting that we can't confirm. That's one. Two, on the issue concerning whether he has a case or has no case. Good. First, like I said before, the way the law is fashioned, it says any person is considered not guilty until the contrary is proven. That he is accused doesn't mean that he committed treason. He's just an accused person. So when he says there is no case, I understand it in that light. Because a case is established when you are convicted.
Very true.
So they should go to trial and prove their matter. So everybody understands. How can you be doing one matter from 2021 till now? You are not arriving at an end. You are still battling with interlocutory applications and bail application and appeals. It doesn't tell well of the judicial system. I know about how Sambo Dasuki's matter went, how he was released from court for this matter, and then they arrested him for another offense and charging him, similar to what's happening with Emefiele now in the country. It is suggestive that the government has a hand in it. Because the SSS, or the DSS, whatever so-called, is an appendage of the government.
True.
And is an appendage of the federal government directly. So you see, when people make statements like that, it's not totally invalid, because these people will not be acting on their own and going rogue, and nobody is calling them to order.
Very true.
So that's just the thing. But generally, as he talked about an agenda, I'll push your mind to something. What's his name? Senator Rochas Okorocha won election in 2019. He was supposed to be given certificate of return by INEC. For some reason, people who did not want him to have any principal office in the Senate, right, stopped him from being inaugurated. INEC has no power not to declare on their own that they will not give him certificate of return. And without that certificate of return, he cannot be sworn in, like inaugurated in the House. So they detained that. Of course, they know that he go to court and he will win. But before he will get his victory in court and come to the House to be inaugurated, all the principal offices would have gone. Very simple. You have won. They said he put the person who declared the result under duress. For that reason, they will not give him his certificate of return. They had no power to do that. They knew they had no power to do that. But they just did it because this is the plan. Make sure he does not have any principal office in the Senate. Then suddenly, again, when he wanted to run for president in 2023, in 2022, We also saw the whole drama, how POP in his house was destroyed to go and arrest him. So when this issue of somebody's agenda comes up, you'll be seeing traces of it.
Yes.
You'll be seeing traces of it, but of course you cannot pin it on somebody. And nobody is also coming out to confess and own up that I am the one behind it,
Very true.
So that's how it is.
All right, so Emeka, let's take a look at this issue of extradition, and well, of course, just like we did here, how he was deported from Kenya to Nigeria, which people have come to say it's wrong according to the law, and the question is, knowing that he is a British passport holder, which of course makes him a part of the UK citizenship and all. But it seemed to us that that part of the world is not saying anything about their person, and of course, let's equally take a look at what you think this might look or perceive in the international community. How do you think the world will see Nigeria going forward in such a case?
Yeah, thank you very much. Earlier I said there's no case against Nnamdi Kanu. With due respect, he was not extradited, he was not deported, he was renditioned, he was kidnapped. In international international law, it's called renditioning. That's a form of kidnapping. So, to that extent, you cannot place something on nothing. You cannot place any case on Nnamdi Kanu at all. By that act of renditioning him, you have destroyed whatever case you have against him. I'll give you an example. When this Wadume from Taraba State, when he was accused of having masterminded the killing of some police officers in the intelligence, IGP's intelligence rescue team, who were on, when some military officers, were accused of killing those who went to arrest him, killing the police officers who went to arrest him. I was on a TV program and I said that nothing will come out of this. My co-discussant was, no, there are cases against him in some states. Blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, if my memory serves me right. Too bad. Sadly, regrettably, these police officers have just died in vain. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened a few days ago? Wadume was released. And he received a hero's welcome in his hometown. A special party was organized to go and receive him. They crossed one big river, waited for him, at the bank of the river, and took him to the traditional ruler's palace where a big reception was held for him. You see, the interesting thing in Nigeria, like I say, is about the agenda of those in power. What they think about that case. And their imprints are so clear. You can see their, you can see their imprints on the wall. It's so clear.
So do you equally believe that the UK
What I
has an
believe,
agenda?
no, I'm coming to the,
Okay.
First of all, I want to pointedly say that President Muhammad Buhari, former President Muhammad Buhari, was the chief architect of everything about Nnamdi Kanu. Because why? Some of us said it clearly. In 2015, Buhari, don't take on Nnamdi Kanu. Find back channels of sorting out this matter. Otherwise, it will take on the life of his own. You will elevate Nnamdi Kanu to levels that will be difficult for you to control. I said it clearly on TV, I said it clearly on radio, and I said it in articles. I said, do not take on it, find a way to quietly deal with this issue. Take a note from the issue that happened concerning Masop and Uwazurike. At the end of the day, after the government had spent itself running around, Uwazurike is free today, he's a billionaire. People have died needlessly. But where are we today? We are back to the same, we are back the same thing. So there is no case against Nnamdi Kanu. Their renditioning has rendered it useless. Fine. They should just, that's why I've said, seek a political solution to this issue. Drop all these charges. Actor General did it in the case of Showore recently. Right for discontinuance of the trial. Sit down with him and look, Nnamdi Kanu. The Southeast, we want the Southeast. And to some extent, some parts of the South-South. We want peace. We want, we want so. We want you to be a part of this process. It has been done in countries all over the world. The war which the Irish Republican Army engaged in with the British government, how did it end? It didn't end on the battlefield. It ended at the negotiating table. And so on and so forth. So the point is this. The British government, yes, Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen, rightly so. But you see, the British government in this case now is like a third party. So you can only use diplomatic pressure, on the Nigerian government to push towards a political solution. And I want to believe they are doing that through back channels. But they know there is actually no case. So if Britain comes in to try to say, okay, can we do this or can we go this way? It will suggest that Britain is trying to add ingredients in a soup that is already soured. One way or the other. So to me, the best thing is discontinue this trial. Sit down with Nnamdi Kanu. I'm from the Southeast. I've traveled widely in the Southeast. I've actually put my ears to the ground and listened to people. What is the problem? I've listened to security agencies. I've listened to youths. I've listened to people who had affiliations with this group. I've listened to political leaders. And all I just see is that, look, there are certain things are not in place. Politicians in the Southeast have generally disappointed the people. They have made a mess of so many things. And they have given the impression that, Abuja hates you. The North will never do anything in the Southeast. Whereas if you look at some projects that were approved by successive governments for the Southeast, they were actually given to politicians from the Southeast. They were given to contractors from the Southeast. Because of time, I can't begin to name some. I can't begin to name them. They were given to them. But these fellows pocketed the money. We saw the drama with Second Niger Bridge. Jonathan was inside Second Niger Bridge. We saw all the underhand moves by Southeast politicians to frustrate that project. Interestingly, Muhammadu Buhari came and just pushed it. And the Second Niger Bridge was achieved. So those same interests in the Southeast, working at the behest of interests outside the region, are now trying to use Nnamdi Kanu as a prize, fighting. No, it's my own group that will, if it's released, my own group that will ensure it's released. No, if it's released, now it has become a prize.
All right. So let's hear your final thoughts, Mr. Bertel, as we coast home. If Nnamdi Kanu was your client, what do you think would be your best advice to him if he gains freedom going forward?
Okay, with all he has passed through, first I know that he's supposed to have gotten judgment against the federal government for all this prosecution, all this, like he said, kidnapping and all that. So, going forward, I'll tell him something just simple. He gets you released, you go back home, you take out whatever is your judgment profit, whatever profit you make from the judgment you get from the court. Take it and go back home. As regards the struggle,
yes,
I really don't see how this is going to be possible right now in Nigeria or in another 20 years. I don't see it happening. But I'm not going to tell him to stop exploring diplomatic channels to make that happen. But if it is a war-like situation, he should kiss it goodbye. It's not going to come. Yeah.
Well,
Thank
Chinyere, you see, this, of course, brings back home, what we often discuss here in the studio
Right.
about peace. Because while we talk about all of these things, one thing we don't talk about, a very important element we don't talk about, is its effect on average Nigerians. That's basically what we don't talk about, of course.
Absolutely, Henry.
Yeah.
Peace is a vital ingredient for growth. I mean, for me, it's a bedrock on which every other thing thrives. You don't know that until you lose peace
Very
for
true.
one day. Yes. So let's keep working towards peace.
Exactly. All right, this is just about the time we have for our show today. And we'd love to say a very big thank you to Uku Chimezie Bethel, Chimzi Bethel. Thank you so very much for being a part of our show.
Thank
and
you.
Emeka Madunago, thank you also for being part of our show today. And for those that have taken out time to be part of our show, we'd love to say thank you so very much also for making out time to be part of our show. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetv.com. Like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike.
I'm Chinyere Igweodo. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.